The following opinions are solely those of BoatTEST.com and its test captain.
Hi, Capt. Steve for BoatTEST.com, and anybody that's been watching my videos long enough knows what a big fan I am of distance cruisers. Well, today we're going to go through an exceptional one, the Krogen Express 52. I'm going to do a complete sea trial and performance evaluation. Now, it's important to note that this isn't a Kadey-Krogen, it's a Krogen Express. There's a definite distinction between the two. Kadey-Krogen is a full displacement yacht, this is semi-displacement. They're both designed by Jim Krogen, but definitely different yachts, different companies, different operating characteristics.
The Krogen Express 52 has a length overall of 57 feet 6 inches, a beam of 15 feet 11 inches, and a draft of 4 feet. With an empty weight of 43,000 pounds, 50% fuel, 50% water, and 4 people on board, we had an estimated test weight of 47,490 pounds. With the twin 440 horsepower Yanmar 6LY 440s turning 26-inch 4-bladed Nibral propellers and run up to 3,350 RPM, our speed topped out at 19.8 knots. There really is no best cruise as the range increases fairly linearly as the throttle is reduced. But there does seem to be a sweet spot between handling and fuel consumption at 1600 RPM and 9.2 knots. At that speed, the 6.3 total fuel burn translates into 1.5 nautical miles per gallon and a range of 924.7 nautical miles. She's a heavy boat made for going the distance, so naturally she has a solid feel to her handling. We had a calm test day, so even light waves were completely unfelt on board. She has a responsive feel to the helm, and the response comes slowly, as expected. Nothing happens fast in this boat, nor should it. Pretty much any time she's cruising, it's expected that the autopilot will be doing the work and the operator reverts to a monitoring status. That said, she does have a predictable response when cranking her about, so when it comes time to avoid the myriad of fish pots and such that decorate our waters, she's up to the task. At the dock, her low-speed maneuvering is well suited and thruster response is gentle and forgiving, but forceful enough that the crosswinds or currents will be easily opposed. Thanks to the Dutch side doors, it's easy to communicate with the crew or even dock short or single-handed. Pretty much an ideal owner-operator's boat from all aspects. Now let's take a look at our operational features, starting in the cockpit.
Right in the center of the cockpit deck is access to the lazarette storage, and this is a heavy hatch, but it's held open with 2 gas assist struts. I think I'd kind of like to see a grab handle on the inside of the hatch here. Now I noticed that not only do the deck drains lead overboard, but the gutter drains for the hatches lead overboard as well. Of course, the stringers are structural, but they make nice little organizers for all of the gear. Looking back, I can see the steering gear, and I'm happy to see that there are rudder stops to both sides. There's access in the deck for an emergency steering tiller, and just below the steering gear is the stern thruster. To both port and starboard quarters, hawse holes to the side bulkhead and the transom, deck drains for taking on light water, scuppers for if we take on heavy water. Now forward in the cockpit, 75-foot cord, 50 amp shore power connection, and that's on an electric reel, TV cable, city water in, fresh water out. So as I make my way to the side decks, 12-inch step and an 11-inch step, grab handle right alongside, tow rail coming up 10 inches, rail topping out at 38, 22-inch width to the deck. As I continue forward, notice there's a nice bit of trim work. Not too much to make it so difficult to maintain the boat, but just enough to give it a nice, elegant, and yachty look. There are 2 midship cleats, both of them 12 inches, so we don't have to double up on one cleat if we've got lines going in 2 different directions. And I like that these are mounted on top of these tow rails, so you're not hitting it with your ankle, toe stub. Very good positioning right there. Coming forward, 9-inch step, there's a courtesy light, Dutch doors leading into the raised pilot house. Nice job with the rails on both sides, and there's a gate, so we can board from this area from a fixed pier. Now at this point, as we continue forward, notice it's a bit of an uphill incline because we've got so much freeboard at the bow. That's part and parcel of what makes this such a capable ocean-going yacht. And this is where we've got a low Franz windlass, chain stopper, chain leading out to a spade anchor, highly polished, and it's mounted into the pulpit. Now the road storage, very deep. There's a ladder going all the way down, 50 feet of chain road, 200 feet of rope road. And notice just behind there's a full collision bulkhead. Freshwater washdown to the port side, starboard is the saltwater washdown, and there are controls both here and at both helms. Now on the port hand side, right at the boarding gate, another shore power connection and TV and cable. Very nice layout to this. First of all, again, grab handles up above. This boat's made for being away from the dock and far offshore. Excellent navigation station, chart light just above. I'd like to see that showing an option for a red light. Chart storage underneath, more storage, an electrical panel, and this is for the operational aspects of the boat. Stid helm seat, fully adjustable, high, low, slides fore and aft, rotates, reclines, flip armrest, and flip footrest. Nice little spot for operating. Great handhold on the side, so when we're operating in a seaway. Start stops for the two Yanmar main engines. Control for the ABT track stabilizers, displays for the two Yanmar engines, Northern Lights generator control, master volt control panel, fusion stereo. There's a compass directly in line with the helm, two 16-inch Raymarine displays, Raymarine multi-data display, autopilot, controls for the bow and stern thruster, digital engine controls over to the other side, fiddle around all the shelf space, nice touch there. Bilge pump controls, beautiful wood steering wheel. There's a power switch for the yacht controller so we can operate that from anywhere on the boat. Wiper controls over to the side and the Raymarine VHF. Now I noticed there's a half hull model on this aft bulkhead, so let's talk about it for a minute. Notice how we've got that high freeboard at the bow that I talked about, and then it comes down as we make our way aft. We've got a sharp entry, spray rails forward, and then things start rounding out as we get about midships, and then level out to a really flat dead rise at the stern. There's a full keel underneath, so that's providing protection for the props that are going to be just behind and to either side. Now the flying bridge is accessed from stairs to the aft side of the raised pilot house. We can get quickly from the flying bridge to the main helm down below. We can also get from the flying bridge right out to the side deck for when we're operating short-handed or single-handed. And great line of communication right here from the galley on up to the captain who may be operating in the flying bridge. So with all that said, let's take a look at the features. Well, the first thing I notice is the Stid helm seat. This is a double version. Single is standard. This one 39 inches wide, has the same adjustability as the one below. And the helm center mounted. All of the same controls that we had down below are duplicated up here, with the exception of these displays are now 12-inch. I like, in addition to having a rudder indicator on the autopilot, we also have a dedicated rudder indicator in the center of the console. I do like this wheel though, 28 inches, leather wrapped, mounted vertically. Now we have an antenna mast. This gives us a bridge clearance of 20 feet, but it is collapsible. All we have to do is release these stays, undo a pin, and then it comes down on an electric winch so that one person can do it. With this in the down position and with the hard top, we lower the bridge clearance to 17 feet. If we go with the bimini top that can be lowered, then we bring our bridge clearance down to 15 feet. So now, let's head forward and check out the engine room. Which is accessed from forward of the raised pilot house. Well, my first impression of this is a well laid out engine room, and certainly roomy. Standing headroom, for me at least, at 5 feet 10 inches. 16 inches apart at the narrowest, right here at the water strainers. Twin 440 horsepower Yanmar engines to either side, of course, taking up center stage. Plenty of storage space. Got 185-gallon water tanks to both sides of me, and there are sight tubes, so I can easily see the levels. Easy access to the outboard sides where we have the engine start batteries. We've got the ABT track stabilizer fin control just forward, and aft is the hydraulic tank for it. Fuel filters to both sides, Raycors, and there are dual filters to both sides, so we can do quick changeouts on the fly. Now as we move aft, well, definite reduction in the headroom, but still plenty of room to move around. 3 feet 5 inches for the overhead clearance here, and there's a hatch right here that leads into the galley. Fuel tanks are to both sides, 350 gallons each. I see sight tubes with gauges just behind, so easy to determine the level of the fuel. And I really like that there are access ports, large ones, to the inside of both tanks. AquaDrive system, keeping everything nice and vibration free. Dual fuel filters for the generator right behind me, 12 kW in this case, and dual water strainers as well. But overall, as I look around the engine room, I can't help but notice how clean everything is and gleaming white. And this boat's got 600 hours on it already. Just alongside the refrigerator is the main electrical panel, and this is just for the living areas. DC on top, AC on the bottom. Notice that all of the labeled areas light when the door is open. And this I love. If you're as obsessive compulsive as I am, take a look at this for elegant. Beautiful job on the wire runs. And notice that nothing gets twisted up with each other. Now, if there's this much dedication going into something that you don't even see, imagine the dedication that goes into the things that you do see. Well, clearly, we've got a boat with an offshore pedigree that can certainly handle blue water conditions, and she's got the storage and accommodations inside to deal with that as well. But that's all in another video. Be sure to look at it. For now, this is my full sea trial and performance evaluation of the Krogen Express 52. For BoatTEST.com, I'm Captain Steve. We'll see you on the water.